Okay, still on 4.6, page 2. This is the second graph. Again, we're going to graph. It's the buddy graph. So we're not going to graph secant. We're going to actually graph cosine, and we'll do all we need to do to graph that. And then once we have it, we'll use the different components to graph our secant. So what do we have all here? We have our amplitude. Amplitude is 3, which means we're going to be going 3 above and below the midline. Our midline, since we just mentioned that, our midline is y equals 0. Again, because there's nothing here. There's no plus d. And then again, our amplitude is at 3. Then all we need to do now is find, I guess, our x increments, our period. Sorry. So our period is going to be 2 pi over 2, because again, that's this value here. So it's 2 pi divided by 2, that's our b. So that means our period is pi. That means our x increments, so how far we go before our graph changes sort of its direction. So in that case, it's going to be pi over 4, because it's always whatever the period is divided by 4. So then the other important parts here are our start. And again, our start and finish are based off of what's inside the parentheses. So start is going to be 2x minus pi over 4 equals 0. So 2x equals pi over 4. So x equals pi over 8. So that's going to be our start point. Our end point, 2x minus pi over 4 equals, and we're not going to go to, oh no, we still do 2 pi, yeah. We still keep our endpoint 2 pi, even though, yeah, we do. So in this case, x equals 9 pi over 8, right? Because that would be, yeah, because that would be 8, yeah, 9 pi over 4, and then divide by 2, so 9 pi over 8. So those are our start and our end points. Let's see. We figured our midline is at y equals 0, right? I'm just going to draw that in just so I remember it. So this is my midline. You don't have to draw the midline in. Okay. This is cosine, and it's going to start at pi over 8. But because we have an amplitude of 3, and remember, cosine starts at the max point. So cosine would start normally at 1, but in this case, it's going to start at 2. It's going to start at 3, and it's going to start out here at pi over 8. Pi over 8 at 3. Okay, there's our starting point. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just do these out by pi over 8. Actually, I've got plenty of room here. Make it easier to draw. So we're going to go pi over 8, 2 pi over 8. You need to make sure you keep your 3 pi over 8. Keep your spacing the same. 4 pi over 8, 5 pi over 8, 6 pi over 8, 7 pi over 8, 8 pi over 8, and 9 pi over 8. And I know that's going to be, so my start point is at pi over 8 and at 3 because of my amplitude. Starts here. Why am I? Sorry, I'm looking at something here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. And then my x increments are pi over 4. So cosine is, so I'm going to go, let's see, that's 1 pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, so that'd be my pi over 4. So that's going to come down here. Okay. And then I'm going to go down pi over 8, so that's 2 pi over 8, so that's pi over 4. So 5 pi over 8, I'm going to come down from my midline. Let's see, midline's here. Yeah, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then I'm going to be back over here. And then I'm going to end at my max. So I start at my max because it's cosine. And then I go to midline. I come down here to my min. I come up here, my midline, and I end at my max. And just note that this distance from here to here, my midline to the max or min is 3, because that's my amplitude. Notice that if we did 9 pi over 8 minus pi over 8, that would be 8 pi over 8, which equals pi, which is what we said our period was, right? So period. So that checks out. Our start and end point check out. Yeah, everything sort of checks out there. Now, again, we come in here, and where our graph crosses the midline, we draw our asymptotes in. And now we're finally going to graph our f of x equals 3 secant 2x minus pi over 4. And at the minimum of our cosine, we draw our sort of downward parabola here, going towards the asymptote. It doesn't cross the asymptote, and it should mimic the same graph as our cosine graph, right? There should be some symmetry there. All right, and that would be, for one period, that would be the graph of cosine. And I realize we have 2 half parabolas, but that's how you do it. Pretty simple if you stick to the plan. Okay, let's go ahead and do 3 and be done with this. So we're going cosecant, so we're back to doing sine. So I'm going to say g of x equals negative 1/2 sine x minus pi negative 1. So let's identify everything. First, our amplitude is 1/2. It's not negative 1/2 because it's the absolute value of a. Let's see, our midline is going to be y equals negative 1. Our period is 2 pi divided by 1. Y divided by 1 because that's what b is. B is that little 1 right there that we don't see. So our period is 2 pi. We'll deal with the negative later. Our x increments, 2 pi divided by 4, so that's just our usual pi over 2. And then our start and stop. Start x minus pi equals 0, x equals pi. And then end point, x minus pi equals 2 pi, so x equals 3 pi. So those are start and stop. So let's come down here. This is our midline. So y equals negative 1, that's our midline. Let's see, we're starting at pi, and our increments are pi over 2. So let's do let's go like this. Let's go pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2. Oops. Yeah, 3 pi over 4 pi over 2, 5 pi over 2, 6 pi over 2, which is, so that's 6 pi over 2, 2 equals 3 pi. So that's our endpoint. This was 2 pi over 2, but we know that's pi. 2 pi over 2. That's our starting point. 2 pi over 2, which equals pi. And those are our start and stop points. Now, this is sine, and normally sine would start at 0 and it would go up, right? Sine normally starts at 0 and goes up and down and ends here. But because we have this negative here, we're going to actually start it down here. Oh, what's our amplitude? Our amplitude is 1/2. Oh boy. Okay, that's fine. So our amplitude is 1/2, and we're starting here. Now, instead of going up, I'm actually going to be coming down. We're starting at our midline, but we're going only 1/2. Start our midline, but we're only going to go 1/2 to here. And then we're going to be back to our midline, and then we're going to go 1/2 to here, and then we're going to be back to our ending midline. So we're starting at pi, but we're going down, and we're starting our midline since it's sine. We're going down instead of up, and it's just sort of like, it's like a reflection, again, because of that negative. Now we go in and draw on our asymptotes. Wherever our graph crosses the midline, not the x-axis, it's the midline, it's whatever. And then again, we come in and we draw from the min. We draw this parabola down. We draw this parabola up. And what I have drawn in black here, that is, make it darker, that indeed is the graph of f of x.